Hi, Krafty Friends. This is Jen from Katahdin Krafts, and I am back as the April guest designer for Newton's Nook Designs. In this week's project, I used Newton's birthday balloons and Oink stamp sets to make this super fun and bright birthday card. Starting off my project, I used pixie spray to temporarily adhere Newton's Confetti Stencil to Bristol Smooth cardstock. Then I randomly spread Rena K Designs Electro Pop Neon Glitz gels in Poppin' Pink, Orange Glow, Hello Yellow, and Screamin' Green all over the stencil. Then I carefully scraped off all the excess. And when I lifted it, I did have a little bit of difficulty getting the stencil off the paper. I had some tearing. I tried it several different times and I wasn't really able to get a solid piece without some sort of tear. And I'm not sure if I should have waited a little bit longer to remove the stencil or if I used a little bit too much pixie spray. But I will keep on experimenting with this process for sure because I absolutely love all the glitz gels. They're beautiful. So next I stamped all my images onto Copic friendly cardstock with Lawn Fawn's jet black ink. And I decided to pre-cut the images out this time because I wanted to use flock on my balloons and I thought that this would be the best course of action to make sure that it was all cut out before I adhered the flock. And you can see the colors I used to the left, plus I have them all written out on Newton's blog. So this video is a little bit different than the ones I've done in the past. I generally always make a pre-card, before I actually do a video of a card, just so I have it all written down and all ready to go with exactly what I want to have out and ready for the project. But this time I thought I would show you a little bit of my creative process as we go. So once I get this colored, you'll see that I experimented with a couple different ways of how I was going to assemble the card. Plus, I had to figure out how I was going to use my gelled stencil pieces in a strategic way because of the tearing that I was experiencing. But I definitely wanted to put that onto the card because I love both the stencil and the gels, and I thought that the colors looked great. And it did end up working out. So now I cut 2 stitch scallop circle frames from Lawn Fawn, and I set those aside, and I started getting the flock ready. And in order to put the flock on, I first used Deco Foil Transfer Gel Blanco, and I actually painted it onto the kitty balloon at first. And you can see I kind of go over to the side because I needed some lighting. My over 40-year-old eyes are definitely getting a little bit weaker. Needed a little light there to help me out. So I painted that, and then I put that aside and let that dry for about an hour. And as you saw briefly there, I also painted on some of the transfer gel onto part of the scallop circle, or the scallop circle, one of them, because I had something that I wanted to experiment with that as well. And now I'm going back in and just finishing up some of the coloring on the pig cake. I wasn't sure how I was going to do those bright colors, and like I said, this was a work in progress. I didn't have anything set in stone, so I'm just doing some simple coloring and adding some bright colors to go with the whole background. I did the candles and the present in the bright colors as I'm waiting for that the transfer gel to set up. And now I'm getting out the flock. I have 3 different colors of flock and 1 enamel transfer sheet in hot pink, and that's what I'm trying right now on that scallop circle. I use some of my household parchment paper to make little pouches to laminate. I put the projects in there, and with the flock I just cut a little piece and then I put it face down on top of the balloon and ran that through the heat. And then you can see the enamel, I think it was my painting on it. First I go ahead and I painted the other balloon so that could set for a while. And then as you can see, it didn't really cover the whole pink that well. So I ran it through a couple more times trying to get that to be a little more solid, but it never really, and I'm pretty sure that it's my application. It was just me experimenting. This is what I do when I'm learning new techniques, and there's, hits and misses. And then I got all my colors of my flock on, and now I'm trying another thing with the scallop circle. I'm going to ink it all up with some tumbled glass, and then I put on the edges some Mermaid Lagoon, and then I evened all that out with the inking. And I'm experimenting with those little pieces. You can see they're different shapes or different sizes. And then I decide, that's too bold and it's not what I really was looking for. So then I grabbed out Newton's cloud stencil and I put some a little bit of tumbled glass and made some clouds, and I liked that look a little bit better. It was a lot more subtle. And then I decided to go with the solid white. You can see I tried the pink and I liked the white better. So now I also decided to cut the confetti stencils into 3 pieces, 1 1/4 by 4 inches. And I just looked for sections that didn't have any of the tearing, and I was able to find some. And then I glued them to my card panel base, which was 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And I left a little room on the top and on the bottom. And then I added the circle to the side and the scalloped edge over. And I let them hang, both of them, onto the side of the card, and then I just trimmed that flush. Then I stamped my sentiment, "It's your birthday," and cut it out with a banner die cut. And then I wanted a little bit more interest with that than just the solid white. So I used those bold colors that I'd been using on the present and on the candles and just made a diagonal striped pattern down the sentiment. And I put some foam adhesive behind that, some foam adhesive behind the little pig. The base of my card, I cut a neon green basil panel, 5 1/2 by 8, and then I scored it at the 4 1/4 to make an A2 size card. And then I glued my card panel to the base. And then I didn't really like the white that I left. So, like I said, this was a work in progress. So, ideally, it would have been nice if I had added the marker, the Copic coloring, before I adhered the panel. But I didn't, so I went ahead and added those now, and I was definitely happier with the results. I liked the color and not having the white spaces. Well, thank you very much for coming on the creative journey with me today. I'm sorry if it seemed like I was a little unorganized because, I wasn't as organized as I normally am, but I wanted you to see how I sometimes do a couple different ideas to see what I like the best. And to finish up the card, I added a few little green jewels, as you can see, to the side of Newton, just some stuff that was in my stash. And I really enjoyed playing with all the neon bright colors and pulling my laminator out and learning how to flock. Think that those Newton balloons were perfect for flocking. And thanks so much to Newton's Nook Designs for having me again this week. And please like below and subscribe to their channel for lots and lots of wonderful inspiration. And remember to check out their blog at newtonsnookdesigns.com. And until next week, everybody, stay safe and keep crafting. And thank you for stopping in.